Well, good morning, campers. Now, good afternoon, Earthlings. It's 4:35. I don't know what I was thinking. Optimistic that I had taped this in the morning, I guess. Hey, I just stopped in Lincoln, Nebraska, and picked up this snazzy T-shirt at the Highway Diner. Eat 24/7. See, Lincoln, Nebraska. What's it say? 2105 Highway 2, Lincoln, Nebraska. This is when I turned from interstate. This is what the staff wears, so I could work here. I used to work in a cafeteria. This is a great diner. I had meatloaf, South Street, one of the classic meals, and real potatoes. Boy, I see this T-shirt's pretty bright too. This is a Goodwill special. As you can see, my load is settled down quite a bit. I'm 333 miles on this tank with about an eighth to go, so I'm going to fill up pretty soon. I was making about 40 miles a gallon 2 tanks ago, but now I've been on the interstate and people are doing 80 on I-80 east, and the trucks are setting the pace sometimes, and some of the locals are too. I'm going to get on the road and just try to refresh my memory as to what I've done lately. The other place that's kind of cool next door is WC's South Sports Bar. I'll take a picture. There's the sign as I'm leaving. This is the diner. This caught my eye because I had a good experience at a diner. Where was that? Montpelier. And here's, I think you're seeing this. I'm aiming away from myself and I can't see it because it's too much trouble to change the camera back and forth. Union Bank and Trust Company. That sounds familiar. Small world, huh? Picture of my hand. So I'm in the edge of southeast edge of, or south edge. There was a map in there, so taking a picture of that. Oh, it's clear for once. It's kind of nice to be off the interstate. 45 miles an hour instead of 80. And oh man, everything seems slow after that too. But this will be a nice change of pace because I've been on the interstate all day. I got up pretty early. Actually, I got up at 6:30 and I couldn't go back to sleep, so I watched some TV and some silly show called Ridiculousness on I think it's the Comedy Channel. I've seen quite a few funny TV shows on cable. Not enough to make me buy cable though, because I can usually get some of that stuff on the internet. So anyway, I am headed out of town on I think it's US 2. Oh well. It was US 77 and now maybe it's Nebraska 2. It's going to take me to Nebraska City, where I was, a week and a half ago? This is Sunday, right? Anyway, it seems like I've had 2 weeks and more than that value-wise. Oh, you see my hat back there? I got me it's sort of a cowboy ranger hat. It's a wool felt crushable Stetson. First time I've ever had a Stetson. I was in the gift shop at Yellowstone near the Mammoth Springs general store gift shop up close to the north entrance, which is the headquarters of the park. So I wanted to give Teddy some recognition by buying my stuff there, a few souvenirs, and I got one for myself. Nebraska to east out of Lincoln, Nebraska. And so far so good. Like a pretty good time. So I hope to get at least 500 or 600 miles under me before I check into another motel. Probably somewhere in Missouri, because this route here is going to take me down the east side of Nebraska. Nebraska City puts me back on the Missouri River, where I went to that Lewis and Clark Center. So that'll tie the loop, so to speak. I've had a grand tour. I learned that they use that term, grand tour, for the people, the hotshots and wealthy and important, like Teddy Roosevelt. Whenever they took those folks down into Yellowstone, they had that figure eight, 2 loops, so to speak, a figure eight shaped loop. And that's called the Grand Tour. And I not only had most of that in the Yellowstone Park, I had a grand tour of the United States. Driving from Indiana, picking up Lewis and Clark's Trail in St. Louis, following it up the Missouri pretty well to Nebraska City, and then I picked it up after the Conservancy Conference, which was at Nebraska City. So you can see why that trip to the conference the Conservancy made me go to kind of put me on that trail, and the rest was easy, like water going downhill, right? All right, well, I don't want to make too big a file. This is about 5 minutes long, so looks like Lincoln's a pretty cool place, and glad I got to see it up close and personal, because you don't see this stuff on the interstate. And I asked the lady, the waitress was really nice back there, and I said, do you advertise on the interstate? She says, no, we get all our business. We're packed on the weekends and nights, all by word of mouth. And there used to be 8 of those stores, and this is the, I guess, mother lode, or where they've pooled all their resources, as just like the story in Walt Disney's cartoon, The Cars, a few years ago, when the interstate goes in, a lot of places dry up on the old U.S. highways. So anyway, this has a similar story, and even some of the locals were helping her tell the story to me. And I took a lot of pictures. They got a bunch of old signs, collectibles types of things that they've just been sort of attracting over time. I'm sure there's a great story behind. I took a picture of the fella who owns it, or his dad. I'm not sure which, but she pointed that out to me. So I've been taking pictures of things I didn't have time to read, and that was one of them. So I'll show you those pics too when I get back. Talk to you later. Bye.